So this is part 2 to my favourite books, and if you haven't seen part 1 already, you can go do so if you like. But yeah, I'm just going to continue on with my favourite books because there are just so many. So first one is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I'm sure most of you also know Coraline. It's also a movie. I actually saw the movie before the book. I didn't actually know it was a book for a while, but I found out soon enough. The book is a lot scarier than the movie, which I just love. And it's just, I don't know, it's perfect. I love Coraline. If you don't know what Coraline is, it is pretty much about this girl that moves into a new house and she finds a random door in the living room, I think it is, and she can go through it and she ends up in her house again, but it's different and everyone has buttons for eyes and it's like, it's freaky stuff, but it's so cool and I love it. And I didn't actually find the movie very disturbing at all. Everyone else seems to think it's really weird and creepy, and I think it's creepy, but I don't think it's very scary. But the book, I think the book is much more stirring than the movie, but I like both. So yeah, Coraline, yes. Next one is The Long Hard Road Out of Hell by Marilyn Manson. This is his autobiography and it's very good. It's very intense, like the whole thing. It's very dark and I don't even know, it's just the story of Marilyn Manson really. And it has a few interviews in here as well, and it has a lot about his past partners and band members and old stories that he wrote when he was younger and just a bunch of creepy stuff, and I guess what made him him. So yeah, it's really good. It's kind of disturbing in some parts, but I like it. And yeah, like I think even if you're not a fan of Marilyn Manson, I'd still recommend this book because it's just really interesting. So yeah, and the way he writes as well, I love the way he writes. I couldn't put the book down when I was reading this. So that one. Next one's probably pretty obvious, but it is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. I haven't actually finished reading her Vampire Chronicles yet, but I can already tell this one is my favourite book. And I really like Lestat, even though he's a self-centered little tart, but he's still kind of my favourite character. So yeah, you kind of have to read Interview with the Vampire first to really get what this is about, but this is about the other main character from that book and kind of his side of the story and about his own life. I'm not going to say very much about it, but it's really good and I really love how it's written. And yeah, so next, this one I haven't actually read in years, but I do remember really loving it, and I think I did reread it once or twice, but it is Ingo by Helen Dunmore. Basically about mermaids, and in the book they call them just the mer, and Ingo is this part of the ocean that you can cross, and I don't actually remember. I don't know how to explain it. This kid that discovers a mermaid or something, and I think they become friends, and then the brother or the sister, I can't remember which one, gets involved as well, and yeah, stuff like that. It's really good. I'm sorry I'm not very good at explaining it. I can't remember everything that happened, but I do remember really enjoying it, and it has some kind of, not really scary parts, but there's some very like dangerous bits in it, I guess, and it's really good, and it's part of a series. There's also The Tide Knot and The Deep and Crossing of Ingo, but the first one is of course my favourite. I also kind of like The Deep as well because it's more dark. It's really good, and yeah, the whole series is just full of awesome. This is one that I actually read when I first got into high school and really enjoyed it, and I still do. I haven't read any of the books in a really long time, but it's really cute and I just love the way that it's written. It's just perfect, and that is Warriors. If you can see, it is by Erin Hunter, and this is actually written by two different people. I think they did, like, they took turns writing the book, so one would write one book, then the other one would write the next book, and on and on. But they made the name Erin Hunter, so I think it'd be less confusing, and I think Hunter kind of goes with the cat thing. All written from a cat's point of view, and it's about this domestic cat that discovers a clan of wild cats and he gets to join them, and they have really cute names for things, like a domesticated pet cat is called a kitty pet, and then the wild cats are called warriors, and like humans called two legs, and their cards are called monsters, and it's the cutest thing ever. I just love it. I've read the first series and part of the second series, and I have the books from those as well, but I kind of just, I don't know, I stopped being able to read them. I don't know, it just kind of stopped, but yeah, I have really good memories with these books and they're so cute. So yeah, that kind of leads on to the next one, which is Promise of the Wolves This is another one I haven't read for a really long time, but it was a good read. And this is kind of like a similar thing, but with wolves, and it's about, I think it's about this outcast wolf. It might be is that called an Omega? I can't remember what the bottom wolf is called, but I think it was that, and I can't actually remember everything that happens, but apparently she rescued a child from drowning or something, and that in itself kind of threatens the survival of her species or something. That's what it said on the back. It's terrible, I can't even remember, but it was really good, and it's very sad in some parts, and yeah. Oh, and it's by Dorothy Hurst, by the way. Dorothy Hurst, I forgot to mention that. So this one's pretty much like warriors, but at the same time it's very different, and it's got wolves instead, and yeah, I like it, so, you know. Next one is Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I don't really think I need to explain what this is about, because pretty much everyone knows what it is, and it is really, really good. And I've also read Through the Looking Glass, but I prefer Alice in Wonderland, because Through the Looking Glass gets a bit weird and confusing. I don't know. I do like it, but it's just I prefer this one. And it's got illustrations in it as well. Like, yeah, there's Alice and the pig and stuff, and yeah, I don't really have much to say about this, but it's just really good and I really like it, and I'm a big fan of Alice in Wonderland, so of course the book is going to be one of my favourites. The next one is Evil Serial Killers. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm kind of into serial killers. I just think they're really interesting, and I really like to kind of find out how they became the way they are and how they made the kind of first decision to start killing people and stuff. I know it's really dark and gritty kind of stuff, but it's just so intriguing to me. So this is basically kind of summary of all of the well-known serial killers and why they became serial killers, I guess. It has stuff about their past and what they did to their victims and how many people they killed and how they got found out and all that stuff. And but they also keep it very short and simple, like David Berkowitz. It's got a photo as well, and it just goes for 3 or 4 pages, I think. Let me see. Yeah, you can see that. And then it goes on to the next one. So it's like really short summaries, which is really good because I like to kind of find out the basics first before deciding whether I want to look further into it or not, kind of. So yeah, and I find that most people who are interested in serial killers and stuff like that have this book, and yeah, so that one. One more book. This one is probably one of my most favourite books of all, and I really love the series. I haven't read all of them in the series yet, but I've read 2 or 3, I can't remember now. But it is Uncle Montague's Tales of Terror by Chris Priestley. And I also spoke briefly about this one as well in my book haul a while ago. And it's just a bunch of short stories of really like scary, ooky spooky things, and it has really cool twisted endings, and I'm pretty much saying everything that I said in the last video about this, but it's really good. Also, I enjoy Tales of Terror from the Black Ship. It's another favourite, but I don't have it because I borrowed it off of someone. And I think there's also like Tales of Terror from the Tunnel's Mouth and Tales of Terror from something or other, something to do with a teacher telling the kids scary things. And I think there was one other one, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, Chris Priestley is an amazing writer. The way he writes is just so gripping, and it's awesome. My favourite stories out of this one that I would recommend would have to be Climb Not and Winter Pruning. I think those ones are my favourite. So yeah, you should definitely read this one. It's really good. That's it. So thank you for watching, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.